Hey everybody, it's me again. I'm doing this video today because everybody seems to think that science is so confusing that only people with PhDs, doctrines, that go to school for 8, 10, 20 fucking years can understand science. And I'm here to prove that that's wrong. With science, everybody wants. I say gravity's never been proven. People want to say it has been proven. I say the Earth isn't a spinning ball. People say it's already been proven that it is a spinning ball. I say space doesn't exist, and people say it's already been proven that space exists. There's a lot of things that when I say prove it, that doesn't mean for you to give me some pseudoscience crap that somebody else gave their opinion about. I actually want to know where the scientific experiment is that proves it. And a scientific experiment has a certain order that it's done in. They call it the scientific method. You can look this up online all you want. There's approximately 8 stages to a scientific method. And if these steps aren't followed, you can't call something a scientific experiment. It's just like with thermodynamics. There's 4 laws, and they've never been broken, and you can't break them with one of your theories in order to make your theory work. These 8 steps are put in place for a reason. They are put in place because of the fact that if you don't have some kind of formal layout or some kind of rules to how you do something, you can't claim it to be done the exact same way every time, so the results are what they are and proves anything. So all these people with PhDs and doctrines and all these highly educated people came up with this method a long time ago. Many, probably hundreds of years ago. But we still today claim experiments are what they are not. Or things that are a proven experiment that's been done have never been done. And these steps are basically this right here. And I wrote them down just to make sure I got them all in the right order and what they should be. But there's 8 of them. The first step is observe. Second step, and when I say observe, that's observe in nature, a natural phenomenon. Then question why it happens. Research it. See if there's any other existing answers or questions that where somebody else might have already thought of this. Then you formulate a hypothesis or hypothesize it, the cause and effect of it. You then would go to your experiment after that, where you try to reproduce it or try to figure out why or what would make it happen and reproduce that in a laboratory or wherever, Then you test that hypothesis many times to see that it's going to happen every time it does. If it only happens once or twice, you can't say that's scientific proof. Then you draw your conclusions, which is based off of your hypothesis. After you get that done, the last thing is to report it. And usually it goes out, and then your peers or other people in that field will test your hypothesis to see if it all comes out to the same. And somewhere down the road, they all come to the same conclusions. Now, with all you people that say gravity's been proven, first things first is nobody has ever observed gravity in nature anywhere. Nowhere. And their main line to the gravity is, well, the center of mass will draw towards the center of another piece of mass. Well, that can't just happen in one example. It has to be something that happens always. So that doesn't mean that only the center of a mass that is as big as the Earth will draw to will pull to its center another object, say the size of the moon, to the Earth. The center of the moon to the center of the Earth. And the one with the larger mass has the larger amount of gravitational pull. So, if that's what it takes is something that big, then it's never been proven. You don't see it in nature. You don't see two apples on a tree, the bigger apple sucking the smaller apple to it. You don't see, you can't hang two balls right next to each other. One basketball next to a baseball and see the baseball draw to the basketball. If it's got to be a solid mass, then let's say, okay, a bowling ball. You take a bowling ball and hang a golf ball next to it, and the bowling ball is going to suck the golf ball up to it. You don't find this in nature anywhere. So the fact that first step cannot be even, that phenomena of gravity cannot even be seen in nature, just blows the scientific method for anybody to say it's been scientifically proven that gravity exists. So for you to even work your way down to the hypothesis and try to come up with a reason of why this happens, you got to skip the first three stages of a scientific method. Then you get down to the fourth is to hypothesize it. Well, you can write the hypothesis of what you think's going on, but you done skipped the first three steps. Now you get to the experiment. Well, you can't reproduce it in a lab nowhere. You can't even reproduce it anywhere on Earth. You couldn't build a big enough mass of whatever anywhere on the planet, or Earth, not planet, because I don't believe it's a planet, in order to test it in an experiment in any way, shape, or form. So that blows your hypothesis right out the window. So there's no testing your hypothesis in order to see if that happens many times. So then when you draw your conclusions, it is nothing more than a guess. Nothing's been proven. There's no way of proving it, not while you're on Earth. But yet it's been what most people call proven that gravity exists from some mathematical equation. Well, math is not a part of science. Math is math, science is science. They're two different things. Like I said in the video the other day, you can make a mathematical equation to prove that the tooth fairy exists. Doesn't mean the tooth fairy exists. But you can make up an equation that proves there's even as much as a 1% chance that they do exist. So then when you report this gravity, the only way that you can get any other of your peers or the people that are same level as you are in education, PhDs, doctorates, is to pay these people off to get them to say what you want them to say. Because if they're following the scientific method, they're not going to be able to reproduce it. They're not going to be able to hypothesize about it. They're not going to be able to take the steps any more than you were. So how can they prove any of it? That's why I say gravity is a theory. At best. At best. It's not even a good theory. You talk about the Big Bang theory. Nobody can prove that. Nobody. Not one person has ever observed it, for one thing. And, yeah, they can question how we all got here. But they can't say it's because of a Big Bang theory. They can't research it because it supposedly happened billions and billions and billions of years ago. They can try to write a hypothesis about it, but what are they writing about? They don't have any clue about nothing because they have no information on it. It's all made up. It's all somebody's opinion or thought. They definitely can't experiment it, do any kind of experiments. So that blows everything down to they draw conclusions from nothing and then write a report on it, and it gets passed into scientific fact. How can that be, people? Is this all it's going to take is somebody's opinion to convince you of something? Because you can't prove it. How can you say it's a proven fact? This goes down to the rotation of the earth. They have no way in the world of proving that this earth is moving. And by going through the scientific methods, they can't prove it. But everybody is convinced that this earth is moving, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, flying through space at 10,000 some miles an hour around the sun, orbiting the sun, flying. The entire galaxy is flying through space at 66,600 miles per hour, 666, through a vacuum of space. But yet nobody can prove not even the slightest movement. Nobody. And it's definitely not scientifically proven because there has never been an experiment to prove it. And there's no way for them to prove it. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. You guys can look this stuff up yourself. Whether you want to or not, that's up to you. But you can sit here and tell me I'm not smart enough to figure this stuff out when they give you everything you need to know to figure it out. You don't have to be what they call a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon or have doctrines or many PhDs like Sheldon on Big Bang Theory. You do not have to be that kind of person to see the truth. The truth is right in front of you. It's what you decide to believe or not. People, I'm going to start bringing more of this stuff up. I'm going to try to walk you guys through how easy it is to learn the truth about our world, how easy it is to learn the truth about our government, how easy it is to learn the truth about what happened to the Constitution back in 1871, about how easy it is to know the truth, to find out that the Civil War wasn't fought to free the black people or the slaves, because there was more than just black people enslaved back then. It was also Asian people were being enslaved back then. The Civil War wasn't fought to free slaves, but it was ended. When it ended, it enslaved us all with the Act of 1871. I know you people don't want to hear the truth because the truth will blow your opinion of this fairy tale world that we live in out of the water. And it sucked when I found out about it. When I crawled into this rabbit hole, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But now I'm in it, I can't get out. You can't unlearn things that you learn. You can't unsee something that you see. Well, once it starts, people, it's a tidal wave. It's an avalanche. It grows. It gets bigger and bigger. Then you find out you've been lied to about so much that it ain't even funny anymore. It's not even funny. Just like most people don't even realize that we're a corporation. But if you look at any legal documents that you have from your driver's license, birth certificate, social security cards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and your name's in all capital letters. Now look up what an all capital letter name is. It's a corporation. You're not a flesh and blood human being. You're a corporation. You're owned by the Federal Reserve. These are all facts, people. It's up to you to know them. It's up to you whether you want to care about what the truth is or you just want to continue to live your life. I'm going to leave it at that. You people have a good day out here today, and may God bless us all because we're going to need it. Good day.